Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the Speakers Collaborative studio session. My name is Cody Hand, and to those of you who are live streaming us, feel free to drop in some comments where you are. Any questions, we're happy to put them up and answer them. For those of you watching the replay, thank you again. Please remember to check us out at thespeakerscollaborative.com. I'm excited today to have our guest, who is only about 2 hours from me. I guess I could have driven and done this with her in person, but I'm really excited to have Kelly Jordan Krasner join us. Kelly, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Cody. I'm so excited to be here. This is amazing.
It is great. So, Kelly, you joined us the first Tuesday in May. I hope you had a good May 4th. If you're a Star Wars geek like me, I hope the 4th was with you.
It was with us.
Yeah, awesome. So, tell us a little bit about you. Who is Kelly?
Who's Kelly? Oh gosh, that's so loaded. Kelly is an ever-evolving human, right? So I've spent my life early on kind of doing what all the folks said to do: get your college degree, get a job, go do the things. And now there's a new Kelly who's realized that isn't always the right path for everybody. So I'm involved in a lot of things.
So would you say you're not using your degree that you went for?
Actually, it's interesting. I was an English major, and I really studied a lot of English and ethics and law. And I thought I was going to be a lawyer because I love to argue a good case. Ask anybody, they'll agree with you. But I ended up finding that I love the writing side of it more and the creative piece of it more than necessarily the law piece. And I would say that today I do use it quite a bit. So it shows up in my work in all different places, but it's not my everyday thing that I'm doing. So I'm not authoring a book that, is going to be a New York Times bestseller or anything yet, but someday, maybe.
Not yet. Yeah, my law degree, I tell people all the time, I have an international business degree and a law degree. I do practice law, so I use that degree quite a bit, but it's surprising what I learned in undergrad that I apply today that's not directly international business administration. But I think for everybody, going to college is almost imperative right now. I'm getting a LinkedIn user telling me that we're frozen, so I'm going to continue talking. We're going to keep going anyway.
Keep rolling.
It's recording, so maybe frozen for them. Kelly, I'm so excited that you're here. So you're going to tell us a bit about what you do here in a minute, but tell us one interesting fact about it.
One interesting fact. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm kind of a wild one. I would say that there was a time of my life when I really wanted to be a race car driver. And I think everybody,
really?
Yeah. And it's really interesting because now my youngest son is going down that path and I'm living slightly vicariously, but I always loved fast cars. And it's not about luxury or everybody seeing me in a fancy car. It's about the speed and the handling and being able to handle a car. And I think it's really funny. Most people would probably not, pin me for that necessarily, but I love a good car. I love to drive. I like to race.
So in an ideal world, you're a race car driver. What's your car?
Oh, I think this world's going to come after me on this one, but I'm a Beamer driver. I love a good, solid, dirty BMW, and I think they handle phenomenal. I've tried a lot of different cars, but I'm not like a Lamborghini person. I don't need that necessarily. I think if I were, I'd probably be racing something IndyCar if I could have done that, something along those lines more than Formula One. Their crashes scare the heck out of me, but yeah, I love a good BMW.
5 minutes ago when we were having our intro, I did not think being a race car driver was the interesting fact you were going to share. That's
no. Yeah, it was way before it was cool for girls to drive, so it didn't happen. But
well, it's cool now. So
yeah, I know. I'm so proud of all the girls out there doing it.
Have you ever done one of those racing experiences where you get on the speedway and drive?
Not yet, but it's on a bucket list for sure. In fact, I'm actually hoping to get my boys into the BMW teen driving experience because I want them to learn how to really handle all the different scenarios that come up in driving. And
let them know Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah, I want to go too. I know we talk about, I don't know if you've heard of Virginia International Speedway, VIR, but we talk about, sometimes when we grow up, we'll go up there and get on the track one of these days. So
that's awesome.
One of these days.
Okay, I don't want you to give away everything because you're going to have your solo time here in a minute. But tell us what you do.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right now, I am kind of in a multi-entrepreneurial space where I went from working in healthcare, sales, marketing, and partnerships for 18 plus years to the land of the layoffs across all the cool startups. And so
Mhm.
it helped me kind of find the space and time to go start all the things that I've been thinking about for so long. So
Yeah.
right now, I have a couple of different businesses. One of them is SeaWeeds Co., which is the marketing side, where I love to help brands find that human touch, especially in this AI-driven world. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Um, but there's a lot of things like leaning on the AI, but we still can remain human. I think it's really important. So that's SeaWeeds Co. For all the sales and marketing I've done, I've just seen kind of like a diminishing human effect, and I think it's important that we keep that in there because those are the people who are buying everything. And then I have SeaWeeds Co., which when I used to sit in an office many, many, many years ago, I would look out the window and see people mowing and go, I wish that was me. I wish I was mowing. I wish I wasn't, sitting in this freezing cold office. And I really meant that. Like I would be so envious of the landscapers. And I was like, what? I want to go out there. I want to mow the lawn. I love nature. I want to hear the birds chirp. And so when I had time after this last round of startups, being acquired and things happening for them, I said, I'm going to do that. So I started SeaWeeds Moco. Yeah. And so,
So,
yeah,
race car driver. I'm getting an echo. Sorry about that.
it's okay.
Race car driver, landscaper, serial entrepreneur. That's a lot of hats that you wear.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, if you had to pick one, this is going to be a softball or hardball question that
Yeah.
is not on the agenda, so I didn't prepare you for this. If you had to pick one of the things you're doing to not do anymore, what would it be?
To not do anymore. Oh, I like them all so much. I would probably stop. I don't want anybody to not want to work with me, but I would probably stop the marketing side because I love being outside. So I think if I could just keep evolving SeaWeeds Moco, we do planters and things like that. There's nothing better than doing all. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick the thing that kept me the closest to nature.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, I love being outside.
Yes.
Love planting things. Don't love mowing, but I love
I'd love
everything
for
else.
you.
You mow, I'll plant. How's that sound?
Okay. Right on.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, Kelly, it is now solo time. So every week at the Speakers Collaborative studio session, we give our guest an opportunity to spend 5 to 10 minutes talking directly to your audience. The reason we do that is to demonstrate what we at the Speakers Collaborative are known for, which is building stages for people to get on. So we're going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes to talk to your audience. When you are finished, when you've run out of things to say, when you don't want to share anything else, if I haven't come back on, just throw up the bat signal and I will join you back on stage. So,
Okay.
Kelly, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Hey, everybody. This is such an incredible opportunity. I don't get to just kind of sit and share my story in this type of venue. So this is pretty exciting. For anybody watching, curious about me, the truth is I do wear a lot of hats. And I've had a number of people just this last week say, how do you pick what you're doing? And what was your passion that led you to doing these different things? And I think it's a really important topic to touch on. The reason I'm doing all of these things and what is the actual foundation and basis for that. And the reason is my story started a little sad. I went from an idyllic childhood, the best childhood I could have ever asked for, to losing my parents a week apart when I was 24. And just prior to that, also being their caregiver for a number of years and really being very involved in the cancer process. So I lost them to pancreatic and colon cancer a week apart when I was 24. And after that, I spent years, probably PTSD. It was never diagnosed. I didn't do anything super irrational, but there was a point in time where I could just tell I was sad and lost, and I was an orphan, and I had lost all my foundation. So from that point on, I've been rebuilding a foundation of me. And I will say that prior to my parents passing away, and even maybe up to 10 years after, I was trying so hard to keep reliving the life I lived with them and trying to be like them. So much that I kind of lost any sense of myself. I just really wasn't being myself. So the businesses today that I run are SeaWeeds Co., SeaWeeds Mo, and there's more SeaWeeds coming. But The reason it's called In the SeaWeeds and SeaWeeds is because I love the beach. I've always been my most healed and comfortable by the ocean. So the sounds of the water lapping up onto the beach are the things that really bring me peace. So anytime I'm near that type of water, my life is usually pretty good. Currently living at the coast, it seemed like the right thing to do to kind of take my love for all things nature and my love for the coast and kind of blend them all together and bring them together in a business. So SeaWeeds Co., it's a marketing consultancy, basically. My goal is to help small and growing businesses bring that human voice back into their business and find a way to really speak to human beings again. Even if it means getting them off a device or bringing them to a different setting that they're not used to or even uncomfortable in, because we're also comfortable in this digital behind a screen setting, that maybe it's time to bring people off screens again. So trying to help set up some of those different types of environments to get people to come in and trust and be human with each other again and really touch on the instincts and sensories that we were born with, as opposed to everything that we're building to replace or take away those sensories. So really important piece of life to me. I'm old enough to say that I lived without devices. I grew up running around on many acres and love for nature. And I never had to have a device in my face or my picture plastered on everything when I was a kid. And it was a life I loved. And I am sad for some of the generations right now that are dealing with, the minute they come out of the womb, they have a camera in their face. And it's like that from that day forward. And parents posting pictures of their kids everywhere. There's just stuff everywhere that's digital. So anytime I can help bring back that human element, I try. I have a big love for humanity. And then SeaWeeds MoCo, you may have heard just a minute ago, I was telling Cody, but I really love being outside. I love having my hands in the earth. And I thought, I'm raising 2 boys, I'm raising a family, and there's a way that we could all do something together that gets the boys outside off their screens and doing something healthier. And they do help and they're wonderful. And it gets me a real reason to be forced outside more often than I may have if I got stuck behind my own devices. So we mow and we pick weeds and we do everything non-toxic, chemical-free every chance we get. If we do any type of, using any type of like weed treatment or something, it's the Sunday brand. We won't use anything else, but still try very hard to avoid that. Anytime we can do something by hand, we do it. So the reason being, we live by the coast. Everything that comes out has some way of harming something at some point. So the goal is to keep the waterways clean, the pets healthy, the children healthy that are running around barefoot in your grass, and keep the families from having to do so much work every weekend when they finally have a chance to be together and thrive. So those are kind of the basis foundational pieces of like the 2 seaweed businesses you see right now. And I have a large love for thriving and joy. So spent so much of my life early on really sad and lost and kind of dazed and confused about what just happened. I had a family and then everything disappeared right after that, all in a matter of a week. It was, bliss to gone. So I spend a lot of time trying to help people see how important living and focusing on your kids in a way that's not just pushing them to be the next thing or follow the next trend, but really to just love them and talk to them and spend time with them, because it does come and go fast. And it's not just a cliche thing. It's legitimately true. You're going to see your kids come and go. And if you're not teaching them, the really most important things of life, which is how to remain human, be good to people, be a good citizen, take care of themselves, enjoy nature while we still have it, all of those kind of things. And I think you're missing an opportunity. So yeah, we've been busy around here. There's been a lot of kind of coaching on thriving, which I have constantly been coached myself as well, because I think that as much as I can speak to it, there are days I genuinely need that support as well. And I have some wonderful mentors who really stick by my side and have since one couple that's really stuck by my side since my parents passed away. They never left my side and they're always right there reminding me that, anything's possible and to keep going. So my advice to everybody is keep going. It's going to be okay. The hard times build you. And the reason I'm here even having this conversation is because my healthcare career came to a crashing end. There was a reduction in force and the next company was, acquired. And then after that, the entire world got laid off, or so it felt like. And I was kind of a generic salesperson, I guess you could say. There's enough of me going around that there wasn't an easy place to go that made sense after that. So build your own thing. If that happens to you, you don't have to get stuck. Don't wait to be processed and be part of that cattle call, go do something, find something that matters to you. And I would say last but not least, give back to your community. That was the other key piece of my business is we give back to ocean conservation and sea turtle rescue and rehabilitation. I'm incredibly proud of it. I volunteer for Karen Beasley Sea Turtle Hospital and Sea Turtle Rescue and Rehabilitation, and I love them. And lately it's been a little busy. I haven't been there as much as I wish I could be. But one of the things we do is with every new client, we adopt a sea turtle. And I actually need to adopt 2 this week because there's 2 new clients. So if you have a community to give back to, please do. It's a wonderful, fulfilling opportunity, and it means the world to your community to support them. And on that note, I will add that I also have the In the SeaWeeds podcast. I'm just talking away.
I was about to ask you to tell us about the podcast.
Yay, the podcast. So the podcast is an opportunity to highlight some of the businesses, or as many of the businesses as possible, that have meant something to my family as we moved to the coast and enjoyed being here. Places we just need to go for dinner all the time, grab our coffee, what have you. And then just kind of like that travel side, if you're coming into town and don't live here, like where to go, what to do when you're here. So that was born out of just great experiences from our family. And I said, you know what, we need to highlight all these small businesses. They're working so hard, even big businesses, right? Get their name out there and support them. So
yeah. What a story. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Absolutely.
And I cannot imagine being 24 and losing both of your parents within a week of each other and still having the wherewithal to be where you are today. That would put a lot of people under, rightfully so. And, I appreciate and thank you for sharing that story, because stories matter.
Yeah.
Life experience matters. And you just told another 24-year-old who's going through the same thing, it's going to be okay.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people who have been in this situation, you don't get over it.
No.
You grow from it, but you don't get over it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's because you had love for them, and you can't get over that love and that loss. But I think you probably would agree that it's made you a better parent.
Yes.
It's made you a more resilient human and a more compassionate. I love that. The other thing I love, Kelly, is your sea turtle focus.
Thanks.
I love that because my 10-year-old is really passionate about sea turtles as well, because she understands that what happens with sea turtles is a barometer of what's going on in the oceans, which is a barometer of our planet. So I'm going to have to bring her down and see you and the sea turtles, because she is obsessed.
Yes, let's take her on her tour. I'll bring her tour guide. She can come stand beside me and we'll just scoot all the way through the Sea Turtle Hospital. I would love that.
She loves it. She did a week at a sea turtle rescue in Florida.
Oh.
Made a huge difference. Anyway, community is really important. You said that. Community to me is also really important, especially those of us who are solos and tend to hop from client to client to client. It's really nice to have a community that can ground you and keep you based. And tell us a little bit about what you do, especially when you get involved with a new community. How do you make sure that you get in and you're all in on that community?
Such a good question. I think, we were in the Raleigh area for 8 years, and it's really weird. I felt like I never was meant to be there, so I was kind of always not super involved. But as soon as I moved to the beach, I dove in, and I don't know why. I think that for some reason it just felt like where I should be. But coming here, it was important that I took care of the community before I looked for them to take care of me. So I didn't come here looking for them to fix everything for me or get me going. I didn't ask favors. I wasn't here to have them build me up. I started building for them first. So I would be a patron at their establishment, or I would work with them at the Sea Turtle Hospital, or I'd put their name out on something, drop a line. And in doing that, you build the credibility mentality that's kind of like, this person's just here to use us all and, you know, throw us out. And that's never the way I want to leave anything, right? I want it to be genuinely cares. And so, you know, I kind of build maybe backwards from how other people would do it, but
but backwards for them, maybe forwards for you. And I think one of the healthiest approaches to community involvement is entering with the heart of service, not wanting to get, but wanting to give. And I find for me, the more I'm giving, the more I get out of it. And it's very, to me, it's very selfish to say that, but I give more so that I get more.
Yes. I love it. I mean, literally every holiday I could just be over here, and if I'm able to give, you know, and
right.
time outside of the holiday I can do that, just like with the Sea Turtle Hospital. Anytime I can show up there and support that team for what they're doing, even if I'm there for 5 minutes, I will do anything for them. They are just some of the best people in the world. But there's also a lot more in this community. There's a Marine community and military community that is going through a lot all the time and deserves to be recognized. So some of the upcoming podcasts will be talking to some more of those folks and just kind of helping the world know how much they're doing for us and how we can support them.
That is really cool. One of our focuses as the Speakers Collaborative this year is to get more veterans on stage.
Oh, good.
They've got, back to the story aspect, they've got tons of stories of how they've recovered from their trauma, stories of how they've transitioned from military to civilian life. And I'm going to go out there, and this is probably really too controversial for this platform, but we don't do enough for our veterans, and we are terrible transitioning our veterans from active duty to retired life. We expect them to put their lives on the line for us, and then we drop them the minute they're not.
Yeah.
And it is, in my opinion, one of the worst things that our country does.
Agree.
So there you go.
I'm surrounded by these folks right now. Right. And I've never felt so safe in my life. One, but two, when I see the sacrifice that they and their families go through on a daily basis, the moving around, the changing things, the being gone, missing babies being born. Oh my gosh. And my whole family was in service along the way. My dad was Air Force. My uncles were every other brand. You know, everybody was part of it. My brother-in-law was Air Force too. So we just had like a lot of understanding of what everybody goes through. But any opportunity to support these folks, I will do it. And so,
yeah, that's awesome.
Oh.
Kelly, are you a reader?
A reader, yeah.
You are. So what are you reading these days?
I have my book to show you. The bookshop on the corner, and I'll tell you why. It's not some big advice book. I will say, I'm going to shout out Sahil Bloom's 5 Types of Wealth because it just so aligns with who I am and the way my dad taught me. But the bookshop on the corner was sent to me by one of my mentors who's been there since my parents died. And she's been there with me. They have been there with me since basically the transition from my major corporate career to who am I, right? And so the book is about a girl who loses a job that's been her identity and how she kind of goes out into the world and finds adventure and excitement and new things to do, and how she suddenly paves a new path for herself that actually may have been better than the one she thought was where she was supposed to be.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to another question. So you're raising kids. Mm-hmm. I'm raising kids. When I was a kid, I'm not going to pretend to know what your age is, but in my generation, I'm later Gen X, you know, we were raised by parents who had the same job their entire life. The whole time that I was a kid, you know, parents had the same job. My father retired from education. He was an educator my whole life. My grandparents did the same thing their entire career. And we're raising, you and I specifically are raising kids in a time when we've switched careers and we've switched roles and we've discovered a new facet of ourselves while our kids are observing that. And kids are intelligent. They pick things up.
So smart.
What would you tell your kids? What do you tell your kids about making a lifelong commitment at a young age and how they should view that lifelong commitment? And I'm going to see what you say, and I'll tell you what I say.
I tell them not to make a lifelong commitment pretty quick, because there's no reason they should feel like they should be stuck in anything or have only one opportunity in life. And I think if there's one thing they know from their mom is, I'll do anything. If it's a chance to learn something new and try something and not do the same monotonous thing the whole rest of my life, I
Mhm.
will do it. The one thing I teach them or try to teach them in that same vein is at least stick it out long enough to see if you really want to do it or not. Don't do it because it's not easy. Because I don't
Right.
ever want to raise kids that feel like, oh, I don't want to do it because it's not easy. Because it's really easy to do today based on how easy it is to do everything today,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So, yeah. What's your advice?
It's pretty much the same. My kids are, both of their parents are lawyers. We went to law school. We committed to careers early.
Yeah.
I've since gone to do other things, including practicing law still. And what we tell them, my oldest daughter is thinking about college now and where she wants to go and what she wants to be when she grows up.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have said is, this doesn't have to be a 50-year decision.
Mm-mm.
The good news about where we are and the privilege that we have and that we're providing to them is you get to make a decision today that in 10 years you don't have to be doing.
That's right.
And I love the way you sort of caveat that gently. Don't just give up because it's not easy, because nothing is easy.
No.
But if it truly isn't you, don't feel like you have to marry it forever.
Yes. Yes.
I love that.
I
That is
love
so cool.
it's hard today. I mean, these kids have access to information that we didn't have. My dad would be like, every time I'd ask a question, he'd say, "Have you looked it up yet?" Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I had to walk to Encyclopedia. And I'd go,
Right.
one thing,
That's right. You had to go find the encyclopedia with the right letter and pull it off the shelf and thumb through it, right? Because we
And
didn't
hope
have
there was something in there about my
Yeah.
question.
we didn't have phones in our pockets to look everything in the world up. Man, our kids are blessed and cursed with that. I agree.
Precisely.
Earlier you were talking about, the minute you're born, there's a camera in your face, and then the 3-year-old who their parents want a few minutes to do their own dopamine addiction, hand them a device, and somebody had a really good point. That would be like in the 70s if my parents had handed me a pack of cigarettes. Like,
Precisely.
leave me alone, go smoke this.
Yeah.
Right?
Here.
Yeah, go busy yourself with these cigarettes. We're doing that when we hand our kids a phone.
Yeah.
So that's probably a topic that would take us another 30 minutes to digest.
Yeah. Oh, I struggle with that. My kids really aren't into social media or anything. I really would not allow it. Now they're starting to touch on it, but I'll tell you, yeah, there is nothing more toxic for all humans, much less
All humans, right?
Right. Than
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting part of our world where we're all learning this at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. I know addictive behaviors because I was taught them early on.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in terms of external things, drugs, things like that.
Yeah.
We're all learning about dopamine addiction at the same time as our kids. So it's real, it's not fair to any of us.
No,
but,
I know.
But the data is out there that it really is impacting the kids. That was a big side note.
Yeah. Easy one to
Kelly, we got 2 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about your law career. I'm so envious in some respects because I know. I think I would have been in the same place. I think it would have caught up with me and I would have been looking for other avenues too. But
there are so many. There was a book when I was going to law school, and it was the 100 things you can do with a law degree that aren't practicing.
Yes.
It was a great book. I always wanted to practice. I never wanted to be in a courtroom, and I tried that for a little while because that's what you're supposed to do after law school. It just wasn't for me. But there are parts about my practice that I really love. I'm a fractional counsel for small businesses. I help people start their business and get it to a point where it's safe and it's locked down and you've got all your paperwork and your contracts and your crisis plan. And we work on that for the first year of their operation, and they can grow because of that. They can spend their nights planning instead of work.
I love it.
And, when I first started doing that, my tagline was, I sell sleep. I give you the confidence that your business is safe. So the other thing I do is estate planning in my law practice. And that's relatively recent. I took that over from my wife when she went to another firm. And what I've really grown to love about that is it is a form of counseling. We're called counselors. It's a form of counseling. You get to talk to folks about their wishes. And if you don't have a will or an estate plan, a lot of people just don't know what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
And they're unaware of why. And they don't want to face the fact that they are going to die. So having an estate plan, you are saying, I know I'm going to die,
Yeah.
right? Well, if you don't have one, let me just tell you, you will die.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to do it. We're all going to die. The
Mhm.
question is, are you going to have your final say, or are you going to let the state have their say? And if you have young kids,
Yeah.
you're really leaving it to chance that
Mhm.
somebody that you trust is going to take care of it.
Yep.
And so for me, it's the same as the business counseling in that I am giving people the peace of mind that everything is in order so that they can then go do amazing things. So that's it.
I love it. It's huge. Yeah, we finally did ours, I mean, years ago, but we did the trust and all the things and who we wanted to there, and it was much scarier not having it than getting it done.
That's right. And you know, I make it really, really straightforward and easy. And my goal is that you get that document, that peace of mind, and you move on.
Peace of
So
mind.
that's right.
I love that. Good for
All
you.
right, Kelly,
Yes, sir.
we can find you at SeaWeedsCo.com.
You sure can.
That's Seaweeds plural co.com.
Yes. There's a
We
lot
can
of
find you on LinkedIn, which is where I found you, in Darren McKee's social selling cohort, which you
Yes.
should check out if you've not checked it out.
100%.
And I'm going to give you one final word. So, what is your parting word for us?
Oh my goodness, Cody, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for giving me the platform to talk about myself and my businesses. And I just want to, the parting word is just be yourself. Everybody keep going and enjoy the heck out of this life. It's short and fast, so make it fun.
Awesome. All right, Kelly, I'm going to put you in the green room. Hang out for me for a minute, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today, and for those of you on the replay, be sure to check us out at thespeakerscollaborative.com. Be sure to check Kelly out at seaweedsco.com. And until next week, I will see you all later. Do you want to tell your story? Stop sitting on the sidelines. We built a stage. Get on it.